Hi everyone. So today you will learn how to fetch data from an API using JavaScript. By the end of the video, you will have this sort of output. Behind the scenes, I am fetching data from this API. This is free online API and they have given a very good example here. Okay. So simply we need to pass our ID here, and when you will run this piece of code, you will get this sort of a output. So from this API, I just need this title and I'm displaying that on the screen. For example, the ID is 1 in this case for the to do. So we are getting this title. In case the ID is 2, we'll get a different title. So let's type a ID here. Let's type 5, fetch, and that's the output. In a similar way, if you will type some different ID, for example 10, you will get something different. But there's a limitation. I think they only have around 200 to-dos. So if you try to fetch 201, you will get something went wrong because it does not exist. So this is what we are going to build in this tutorial. So let's get started. Let's create an index file here. It will be index.html. Let's have a basic HTML structure, a link to the style sheet, and a script file at the bottom. That will be script.js. Need one div element. In the div element, we'll have one input element. Type will be text, and it will have a placeholder, enter ID. Also, we need one button. So it will be fetch. So after making the request, we have to display title on the screen. For that, we'll make use of h2 element. Initially, it will be empty because we will populate it using JavaScript. I'll just save it. Create a style sheet here, style.css. Select div element. Display will be flex. Justify content will be center. Gap will be 10 pixels. Select the input element. Text line will be center. Outline will be none. Font size will be around 20 pixels. Width will be 100 pixels. Select the button element. Border will be none. Border radius will be 10 pixels. Background color will be green. Font color will be white. Padding will be 10 pixel and 30 pixel. Select h2 element. Margin top will be 10 pixels and text align will be center. Save it. Let's open this file in the browser to see the output. Let's make the font of this button a bit bold. So font weight bold. Nice. Now let's work on the script file. Let's create a script file here. Script.js. Select the button element. Just copy and paste it 2 times because we have to select input element as well as the heading element. So let's make it input and let's make it h2. Here it will be heading and here it will be input. Let's add an event listener to the button element. Event will be click. This will be the handler function and it will be an asynchronous function. I will tell you why. Inside this function, we'll call another function that will be fetch data, and basically we'll pass the value of the input element to that function, and whatever the result will be, will display in the heading element. So let's get the value from the input element. It should be input element, and get the title by calling the fetch data method, and we'll pass this value like this. The next step is to display the title on the screen in the h2 element. So it will go like this. Let's create that function here, fetch data. It will be an asynchronous function. Inside this function, we'll utilize the fetch API to make a GET request. It will take a ID parameter. Let's get a variable result here. And initially the text will be something went wrong, because there's a possibility that request might fail or you might not get the data that we are expecting. And we'll simply return the result like this. Now, between this piece of code, we need try and catch block. In case there is an error, I just want to console log the error. Inside this try and catch block, we'll form a URL. Let's copy this URL from here. Since the ID is dynamic, we'll utilize template literal here, like this. The next step is to make a fetch request. So let's create a variable here, response, and we'll simply await for the response. By default, it is always a GET request. Now we need to parse the JSON response. So let's create a variable here, JSON Data, and it will be response.json. The next step is to check if there's a title property in that JSON data. For the sake of simplicity, instead of JSON data, you can simply make it data like this. So we'll utilize in operator here. If title in data, we'll set the result equal to data.title property like this. So this is all what you need to do to make a fetch request to any API. Just save it, go to the browser. Let's type to do ID, let's say 10. That's the output. Let's try with different one, 25. So it's working absolutely fine. In case you want to check for the error, just make it 300, because there are only 200 to dos. Since there is no title property in the response, we are getting something went wrong. I hope you got the point, how it actually works. See you in the next video. Have a nice day.